So the greens that we're using for this salad are romaine, which is hearty, and I've torn it into bite-sized pieces. And I'm going to go ahead and add it to this bowl because we're going to dress it. I also have, like this, the French say that tearing lettuce is much better for it than using a knife. You could also just cut it if you prefer. Always remember to use fresh greens, as fresh as you can get them. And remember that when you're making a dressing, nothing is cooked, it's all raw. So you want to make sure to use the best quality ingredients you have because you're really going to taste the flavors of what you've put into your dressing that goes on your salad. All right, so we have some greens. And then I also have some other greens, which are watercress. And watercress is very peppery. You'll recall that that's what they use in England for tea sandwiches with a little bit of butter. The leaves are peppery and add some texture and complement arugula leaves, but the stems are very bitter, so we don't want the stems. And so we're going to just trim those off. This particular batch also has some roots on it, which we don't want. And so I'll take the big stems off and put the rest into my bowl with the romaine. If you don't have access to watercress, try using arugula or chicory or endive. They all have that bitterness and the same kind of texture, so they'll work wonderfully well in this salad. There we go. I'm putting it in here. And then what I'm going to do is pour some dressing on top and toss it and then arrange it on my platter. There we go. Let's get some of these tough guys out. And the rest can stay because they'll add some flavor, but mostly we want the leaves. I love arugula in my salad too, so I'd be quite happy using that. And remember, we've added a bit of sugar to the vinaigrette, so that'll balance the bite of these greens quite well. All right. I love the shape of watercress too. You've got these beautiful round leaves. They're very different from the large romaine. And a slightly different color, slightly darker, so they look really pretty as well. And here we go. That's it. Now let's dress it. I'm going to divide up my vinaigrette to use between different elements of this dish. So I'll start off with some, and then I'm not going to put this mixing bowl away. I'm going to use it over and over for the different parts of the salad that I need to dress. So I have a tablespoon measure. I'm going to give my vinaigrette a stir. You can see how beautiful it is. And I'm going to pour it on. And toss it. So this is a dish that looks beautiful as well as tastes beautiful. No wonder they loved it in Hollywood. All right. Remember that greens wilt when you dress them. And if you dress them too long before, you won't have a very pretty platter to bring to the table. So have all your elements ready and then mix everything together when you're ready to serve. All right, so let's create a bed of lettuce, romaine, and watercress down on our platter. like that. Oops. So our next important element is chicken, and that will definitely need to be dressed. So once this is looking pretty, we'll get started with that. Make sure I get the last little bit of watercress off my tongs before I dress the chicken. Now let's go ahead and cut our chicken breast that we seared and steamed earlier. And this time I'm going to cut it lengthwise down the middle and cut thin strips to go on my salad. I want them to be bite-sized. Everything should be bite-sized so it fits in your mouth easily and you can pick it up with a fork. It's a pretty elegant salad. So now let's add it to our bowl right there and give it a bit of a dressing. Stir your dressing each time you add it to a new element to make sure all its ingredients are well incorporated. And give it a quick stir with our tongs. Go. And we'll put it down on one side of our platter. This is a really hearty filling salad. It's got eggs and chicken in it. And because it's composed this way, people who want to avoid meat can just help themselves from the other side. Okay, so our bacon has drained and I'm ready to put it on a plate. You can see cutting into little pieces works well for you to be able to then add it to your dish. A little errant piece of chicken there. Get that. Okay. And now, let's dress our tomatoes. So I have some grape tomatoes here that I've cut in half. If you can't find them, feel free to use cherry tomatoes and do the same thing, cut them in half. And we'll dress these as well. Like that. And just give them a shake with our tongs. And we're going to put them on the opposite end from the chicken. Like that. This salad will feed 6 to 8 people as a main course, and it's a great salad to make in the summertime. You want your protein, but you also want something nice and cool and refreshing. So you could prepare the elements ahead of time and just bring it to the table when you're ready to serve. There we go. There's so many different colors that it works really well. Now we'll go ahead and add the other elements to our dish. We'll add the eggs. And put them on the side next to the tomato, like that. The eggs don't need to be dressed ahead of time. We'll drizzle some dressing over them afterward. If you dress them ahead of time, they will get mushy, and you don't want that. So I'm doing this at home for you, and obviously you heard my dog. She was very excited by the thought of all that bacon cooking. I would not have a dog in my kitchen ordinarily. I'm just going to rinse my hands off and be right back. Alright, so now we're going to prepare our avocado. I have a beautiful ripe avocado. It should be slightly pliable to the touch. And you know that when it's slightly soft, it's ready to eat. So what we're going to do is cut it in half and use half of it. I also want to get myself a spoon.